3, 2, 1, 0.
Roger, the clock is operating. We're underway.
You're loud and clear.
Roger, we're programming and roll okay. A little bumpy along about here.
Roger. Stand by for 20 seconds.
Roger. We're smoothing out some now, getting out of the vibration area.
Roger, you're through Max Q, flight path is...
Roger, feels good through Max Q and smoothing out real fine. Cabin pressure coming down by 7, okay, flight very smooth now. Sky looking very dark outside.
All Roger, reading you loud and clear, 7, Cape is go, we're standing by for you.
Roger, Cape is go and I am go. Our capsule is in good shape. Fuel 103, 102, oxygen 78,100, cabin pressure holding steady at 5.8, amps is 2.6. All systems are go, indicating 6G. Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around. Oh, that view is tremendous.
Roger, turnaround has started.
Roger, capsule turning around, and I could see the booster during turnaround just a couple of 100 yards behind me. It was beautiful.
Roger, 7, you have a go, at least 7 orbits.
Roger, understand go for at least 7 orbits. The Friendship 7 can see clear back a big cloud pattern way back across toward the Cape. We're all set. This is very comfortable at 0G. I have nothing but very fine feeling. It just feels very normal and very good. Have very little dirt floating around in the capsule, just a little bit, and preparing to take xylos still at present time. This Friendship 7, the head movements cause no sensations whatsoever. Feel fine. Reach test, I can hit directly to any spot that I want to hit. I have no problem reaching for knobs and have adjusted to 0G very easily, much easier than I really thought I would. I have excellent vision on the charts, no astigmatism or any malfunctions at all. I feel fine so far, over.
Roger, understand.
This is Friendship 7, have beautiful view of the African coast, both in the scope and out the window. Out the window is by far the best view. Part of the Canaries was hidden by clouds. Roger, how you doing, Gordo? We're doing real fine up here. Everything is going very well, over.
John, you sound good.
Roger, control fuel is 90,100, oxygen is 75,100, amps are 22. All systems are still go, having no problems at all. Control system operating fine, over. The only unusual thing I have noticed is a rather high, what would appear to be a haze layer, up some 7 or 8 degrees above the horizon on the night side. The stars, I can see through it as they go down toward the real horizon, but it's a very visible single band or layer pretty well up above the normal horizon, over.
Shortly, you may observe some lights down there. You want to take a check on them out to your right, over?
Roger, I'm all set to see if I can't get them in sight. Roger, I do have lights in sight on the ground, over.
Do you understand? They're just off to your right, then?
That's affirmative. Just to my right, I can see a big pattern of lights, apparently right on the coast. I can see the outline of a town and a very bright light just to the south of it. On down.
And Rockingham, you're saying that?
Roger, the lights show up very well, and I'll thank everybody for turning them on, will you?
What is going on, everybody? Alright, I apologize. I got my big cup of coffee here like I always do. Let me turn down the tunes. Tonight's topic of conversation is, what is your favorite Star Wars quote? Can be from any movie, can be from any animated show, can be from anything. Can be from a comic, can be from a game. Those I probably won't know very much of, but I am all ears. So, welcome one and all. It's good to see everybody. I did not stream last night. I did a podcast, my first podcast in like 2 years. It will go up. I don't know if he wants me to say that I was on it, but it will go up. Well, I assume he wouldn't care. There's a really pleasant conversation. It was my first podcast that I've done in like 2 years, and I'm excited for you guys to hear it. It was a good time. Welcome, guys. I hope you had a fantastic front load of the week. Gearing up for the weekend in a couple days. And like I said, tonight's topic of conversation is, what is your favorite Star Wars quote? And we got two first-comers here, Vince Wynn and Carter Lovejoy, familiar faces around these parts. Welcome, guys, and thank you so much for the first channel supports of the stream. Vince Wynn says, no, unquote, Darth Vader. Just a big added no before he tosses the Emperor. Special edition quotes don't count, Vince. But I appreciate that, man. That is somebody's favorite quote, right? They're gonna have a big video essay on why it's their favorite quote, no question about it. But Vince, I appreciate the hell out of that, man, and it's good to see you as always. And Carter Lovejoy says, my favorite Star Wars quote: "You go, Glenn Coco." I actually had to Google this, Carter. Is this from Mean Girls? Is that where you're talking about? When Damon is passed out on candy canes. Oh, passing out candy canes, he says, Taylor Zimmerman, 2 for you. Glenn Coco, 4 for you. Glenn Coco, you go, Glenn Coco. And, Caddy Heron. Do we have Caddy Heron here? What is this from? It's from Mean Girls? I remember really liking that movie, and obviously Tina Fey, fantastic. I don't have any memory of that. But I wouldn't mind watching that again. It's one of those, that was a good movie. Yeah. Let's see. What year did that come out? I feel like I was way out of high school by then, or a couple years out of high school. Mean Girls. 2004. It literally came out the same year that I graduated high school. And, yeah. Wow. This is a funny one. Anyway, Carter, I appreciate that, man. And Darth Vader, of course, Darth Vader. Welcome, Darth Vader. Good to see you, man. I appreciate that channel support. The old big boss man over there. Darth Vader says his favorite Star Wars quote is, "I find your lack of faith disturbing." Well, I wouldn't have it any way coming from the mouth of Darth Vader, man. It's not one of my favorites, but it is one of my favorites when it comes to Vader, right? It kind of sets up a lot of his character, especially around the other Imperial personnel. You know, you kind of, in A New Hope, he establishes who he is, and you find out a little bit more of his character, and he's kind of an outlier in this sea of your typical military men, I suppose. So, a little dash of Darth Vader character building there with that quote in A New Hope. But everybody, do me a big favor and say, welcome to the live stream, Mr. Darth Vader, the one and only. But I appreciate that, man. And Leckle, good to see you as always, man. Let me tell you what one of my favorite quotes is. Well, first I'll address this first, Leckle. Leckle says, not one quote. Luke/Vader conversation. Come with me. It's too late for me, son. I've got to save you. You already have. And Funeral Pyre is my favorite scene of mine. It's incredibly powerful. The entire kind of conversation in the elevator, leading into the confrontation with the Emperor. Luke is going in there with a cool, calm, and collected vibe, right? And he's kind of on a mission to, if not necessarily save his father, but potentially speak his mind to his dad, and he's kind of giving himself up with nothing more than hope on his back, right? And that, yeah, I agree. Sometimes, Leckle, it's not about individual quotes. It's about the entire scene and about the conversations between characters that build up that your favorite quote unquote quote, right? But yeah, Leckle, I appreciate that, man. That's that entire confrontation. You probably know this. It's my favorite lightsaber fight in the entire saga. Mainly because of that confrontation, because of that conversation, because of all the parties involved in the stakes that are there. But yeah, man, I appreciate that. So I'm going to tell you guys what one of my favorite quotes is in the entire saga. It's, let me see if I remember this correctly. It's all, I'm lying here, I'm reading it. All his life has he looked away, to the future, to the horizon, never his mind on where he was, what he was doing. And he goes and pokes Luke. That quote, while it might not evoke the most kind of Star Warsy quote, it's not your prequel memes, it's not your I find your lack of faith disturbing or no disintegrations. It's a quote that you can almost kind of carry around with you in life, All his life has he looked away, to the future, to the horizon, never his mind on where he was, what he was doing. Telling you to focus on a task at hand. What's coming's gonna come, but you need to kind of buckle down and if you use it in a real life setting, buckle down and get your shit done, right? That's what Yoda's telling Luke. But that's definitely one of my favorites. That's probably at least as a life lesson that you can apply to real life, right? So anyway, and Jarvis Villeman, thank you so much for the silent support this evening, man. I greatly appreciate that. I don't know if you meant to type a little message in there or if you wanted to be a silent supporter, but Jarvis, thank you so much. Either way, man, I appreciate the hell out of it, and hope you're having a good hump day. But once again, Jarvis, thank you so much for the silent support, and I will cheers my microphone without spilling my coffee and take a quick sip. There we go. And Christian Evans Walker, thank you so much as well, man. Fear is the path of the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. That's definitely one of the more memorable Yoda lines from... I think that's probably the most memorable prequel line from Yoda. Wouldn't you guys say? I mean, truly... what's the other one about... Truly wonderful the mind of a child is? Is that what he says? Is that what it is? Is that... Truly wonderful the mind of a child is. Is that what it is? Yeah. That's probably one that I hear often or see on Etsy prints that people are selling. Because when you have a kid, you look at some Star Wars prints to put on their wall. That one definitely comes up often. Yeah, Chris, it's kind of I've heard people talk about how you can interchange all of those and whatnot, and it's kind of a warning almost, right? Keep your shit together. Be the calmest person in the room. That's how I take it, at least, A lot of the stuff, though, Christian, with the Jedi or even some Yoda stuff, where, what does he say? He says, something like, don't grieve those who, I'm butchering this, but he basically says, don't grieve those who have passed on and become the Force, or something like that. Certain things that Yoda says, or the Jedi philosophy, I vehemently disagree with, right? But that is certainly not. That's a good one. Setting things up for sure. But yeah, man, I appreciate that, Christian. I'm sure a lot of people would agree that's probably their favorite as well. Sozul, thank you so much. I apologize if I butchered your name. Hopefully, I've been pretty good with pronouncing names lately. Sozul says, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. That's one of my favorites too. It's there's a little bit of hope there, right? And not only in the sense of it definitely... In the world of Star Wars, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter, kind of gives a sense of wonder, right? It makes things feel bigger than they are. It makes almost the tangible untangible. It breathes, I don't know, a lot of I don't know, a lot of just it just bleeds metaphysical and spiritual, right? Which are things in my personal life that I don't really pay any attention to, and I don't have any heavy beliefs like that. But luminous beings are we, not this crude matter, in this fantasy world of Star Wars, is a beautiful way to kind of completely describe the Force. And I always say, when I think of the Force, I think of like Empire Strikes Back Yoda, and I think of a quote like that, and I think of the wisdom, and kind of the Force world building, is what I think of when I think of the Force, But yeah, I appreciate that, Sozel. And Carter Lovejoy, once again, man, thank you so much for the channel support. Lucas should change Vader's no and the Revenge of the Sith to McClunky. Oh my goodness. Carter, I'm very surprised that I haven't seen anybody, or I don't know if they exist, but I'm very surprised that if they do exist, nobody has sent me a video where people replace the word McClunky or replace lines of dialogue in Star Wars with McClunky. That just seems like a no-brainer parody that should exist, right? If I had time, I would probably do it, but please no more changes. Please no more changes, Carter. Please no more changes. No. Is Padme. What does he say? Is Padme okay? Is that what he says? Is Padme... what does he say? Padme? Does he just say Padme? Quote. Vader. Revenge of the Sith. I have to get very specific here. What does he say? I don't know. Somebody will type it. I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Luke and Yoda's conversation about failure in TLJ. Yeah, absolutely. The entire conversation there, and seeing an old friend, and that old friend kind of talking some sense into you. When you lose your way, right? It's always an old friend or a buddy that you've known for a very long time who says, hey, cut the shit, right? A little tough love. Yoda popping in, and that entire scene just hit me so hard, man. And I've said this before, Leckle, but if you would have told me that Yoda was going to be in the movie before I saw the movie, I would have been a little apprehensive, right? That's going to be fan servicey. That's not going to, I don't like that kind of stuff, constantly having the same characters over and over again. But it was such a well done scene. And it just hit me right in the right spot, Yeah, about failure and just... Yeah, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. The more I think about stuff like that, the more I want to watch TLJ again. I watched it right before I saw Rise of Skywalker. And the more I think about the Rise of Skywalker, the more I want to watch TLJ. But just because, you guys know how I feel about that old Skywalker. But I appreciate that, man. And I'm in agreement. D-Man04151. Thank you so much for the channel support. And this is a fantastic quote. And actually kind of in line with one of my favorite quotes. I don't know if you were here earlier when I spoke about the Yoda quote that I absolutely love. But D-Man says, my favorite is from Qui-Gon Jinn. Remember, concentrate on the moment. Feel, don't think, use your instincts. It's kind of in line with what I said, well, a little bit, right? Concentrate on the moment, right? All his life has he looked away to the future, to the horizon, never his mind on where he was, what he was doing. It's very, very much in line with the Yoda quote that I love so much. Feel, don't think, use your instincts. It applies, certainly, to certain situations in real life. At the same time, it's good to think. Old Qui-Gon Jinn. But no, I completely understand his point, right? When you're put in a situation and you almost don't have time to think, or there's so many moving pieces and parts and you don't know the next step, just use your instincts, right? Go with your gut. Go with your gut, Qui-Gon's saying. But concentrate on the moment. I think, to me, like I said, D-Man, the Yoda quote that's very similar to that in many respects just hits me. You know, how many times have, and I'm sure a lot of you are the same as me, how many times have you kind of daydreamed about what you could be doing other than the thing that you're doing, right? And that gets you nowhere, you know. If you have a task in front of you, knock it out, and then you can you know, plot and plan. But yeah, little Qui-Gon Jinn wisdom for sure. Remember, concentrate on the moment to moment. Because if you're always focusing on the future, that the shit that's special right now is gonna pass by. Always looking forward to something in the future. Yeah, that trip is coming. That trip is coming. But just focus on right now. There's some good stuff in front of you, right? But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, D-Man. Luminous beings are we? That's a good one, Josh. Absolutely. Somebody mentioned that earlier. Sawzul mentioned that earlier. A lot of people say do or do not. Do or do not, there is no try. Yeah, it's classic. Absolutely. I feel like I've talked about that in a video before. It's you know, the logically, I suppose it's all semantics, right? I'll try it. Do or do not. Okay, Yoda, we get it. We get it. But you know, it's good to try, right? It's good to try new things. It's good to give a fair try to some task that you've set yourself up for, or whether it be in school or whatever, going down a career path, whatever it is. It's good to give a try. And I completely understand the sentiment that Yoda is trying to, you know, instill in Luke there. Because if you're going in like wishy-washy to a situation or an attempt or something that you need to get done and that might not pan out the way you wanted, if you're going in wishy-washy, then you have all those negative thoughts in your head of, oh, I just can't. I don't know how to. Stop it, Luke. Stop. Do or do not. I dig it. They came from behind. Dude, John, there are random lines of dialogue that I think of throughout the day. They came from behind is one of them, because it's something that you can use in regular life, you know. Even when me and my buddies are playing games or something like that, and we get killed from behind, inevitably one of us says, they came from behind, or almost there. I say that one with my daughter while we're walking up the steps to the second floor of our house. Almost there. It's kind of funny. I don't know. You must feel the force around you, here between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Saif? Did I say that correctly? I'm kind of dumb, so. Yeah, that's such a, once again, a very metaphysical one. I for whatever reason, I tend to gravitate towards certain Star Wars quotes that kind of you can put your finger on and apply it to the real world. But something like that just builds the mythos of Star Wars and the Force and whatnot. And for that reason, I love a quote like that, Saif, for a very different reason than I love something like, you know, all his life has he looked away. But yeah, absolutely. There's kind of two camps of Star Wars quotes for me. You know, ones that you can apply to real life and ones that kind of build the world of Star Wars, you know. But yeah. George Heilman, thank you so much for the channel support this evening, man. I don't believe it. That is why you fail. That brief exchange after a beautiful scene is one of the most resonant and supports Yoda's motivational speech about failure in TLJ. Yeah, I feel like I've made a video about that, George, a while ago. Maybe it was like a top 5 Yoda quote video or something like that. You know, Luke, after kind of being one of those types of people who complains and doubts himself before he even gives it a shot, right? He's been doubting himself. It's not possible. I can't do it. I can't. That is why you fail, right? I don't know how. Stop. That is why you fail, Yoda says. So something like that, you know, the entire, not necessarily the quote itself, but the entire scene and moment and what it all means. Something like that is easily pluckable from the movie and applying it to real life. The entire sequence, you know, where Luke is a lot of self-pity there. And he hasn't really given it a fair shot. And not believe, and I don't believe it. I kind of almost interpret it, and maybe this is a little, I don't know, word salad, but I kind of interpret it the way maybe Yoda interprets it, is Luke doesn't believe in himself, you know? He doesn't believe in himself and what he can do, and if he puts his mind to it. And that's, you know, when you don't have a belief in yourself, and when you're not willing to give an honest shot at something, and rather you just complain about not knowing how, or not being able to, or not thinking you can do the thing, you know, then you're setting yourself up for failure, because all you do is doubt yourself, you know. But no, I love it, George, through and through. And once again, I love the quotes that you can pluck out of the movie and kind of splash right in the real world, you know. But yeah, George, I appreciate that, man. I actually used some Star Wars quotes for my communications presentation in college. Nice, Salty. Nice. Definitely a lot of things to pull from, for sure there. What you said, communications presentation. I had to give a presentation. Well, no, it was like a speech class that I did. Dude, that was one of my favorite classes I've ever taken. I thought I was gonna. It was very shortly after I got out of the Navy, so it was probably 2012. I took a speech class, like a public speaking class, and it was just kind of an elective, and it kind of sounded interesting to me, so whatever. And I was actually dreading it. I signed up because I thought it sounded exciting, and then I started dreading it because I didn't want to get up and talk and whatever. But I ended up loving it because the professor was so cool about, you know, letting you talk about things that you want to talk about. So there was a lot of freedom in what you could talk about. I did a presentation on astronomy, which was a lot of fun. There were some people in the class that actually did not know that the sun was a star, and that kind of, my heart broke for humanity. Can you believe that? Oh, man. I was like, oh, my God. I need to give more presentations on this stuff. That big ball in the sky? Yeah, that's a star. What have you, for the past 30 years of your life, what did you think that thing was? Did you think that was just a big tanning bed? What the hell did you think that was? No curiosity, man. It's weird. Very weird. But, anyway. Vince Wynn, thank you so much. Here we go. Vince Wynn, I appreciate that once again, man. I appreciate the hell out of that. Vince says, but I was going to go to the Tashi station to pick up some power converters. Oh, why that voice reminded me of, have you ever seen the Californians on SNL with Fred Armisen? But I was going to this Tashi station to pick up some power converters. That was embarrassing. That's what it reminded me of. Vince, I love whiny, innocent Luke. I love it. I mean, I've talked about A New Hope a million times on this channel and why I love Luke as a character. Not only in the entire saga, but specifically A New Hope. I don't know why I love A New Hope, kind of whiny, kicking the dust of the sand I want to get out of here. I don't want to be here. I love it. But yeah. I appreciate that, Vince. Let's see. It's interesting. I've heard a lot of people talk about how it just isn't fair. Biggs is right. I'll never get out of here. I love it, Vince. I love it. I've heard a lot of people say like the sequel trilogy doesn't have any memorable lines or nothing quotable and stuff like that. You know, that's once again, it's kind of a mirror image of the time and during the prequel era. Dude, can you imagine? Like me sitting down in the theater to watch the prequels, right? Sure, there's some lines of dialogue that are memorable, sure. But can you imagine sitting back and watching those movies and predicting something like "Hello there" becoming one of the most quotable Star Wars quotes in the history of Star Wars? I mean, exactly, Josh. What about the droid attack on the Wookiee? Like, they turned into memes. In the 1999, 2003, and 2005, or 2002 and 2005, can you imagine people thinking that these little lines of dialogue would just resonate for goofiness, for silliness, of course, many of the times, much of the time rather, but it's just kind of funny. So, the quotes that you don't think impact you are impacting another generation. So, anyway. Senpai Gar, thank you so much for the channel support, man. I greatly appreciate that. You're not actually going into the asteroid field. They'd be crazy to follow us, wouldn't they? And put Captain Solo in the cargo hold. Those are your favorites. Interesting. Yeah, it kind of... Well, I love Han Solo for his daringness. It's kind of also... It reminds me in a way of when... In A New Hope... Leia, the group, they're running together and they see the Falcon out in the hangar, and Leia says, I think she says, "You're getting in that thing? You're braver than I thought." You know, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I love it. You're not going into the asteroid. You're not actually going into the asteroid field. They'd be crazy to follow us, wouldn't they? Han Solo, the gambler. Turn them off. Turn 3PO off. We don't need to hear these odds, right? Yeah, I love it. Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold. Is that... Okay, so... I haven't heard... I know where it's from and what it's from, but... I want to hear the original version, the original theatrical. Because when I hear that line of dialogue in my head, Senpai, I hear it in the original theatrical cut. I don't hear it in the Tamora Morrison voice. So I want to hear him side by side. I'm gonna have to look that up after the stream. You know how you can just remember the sound of voices or even sound effects in Star Wars, and it just pops in your head instantly the second it's typed out. I remember how that sounds coming from Jason Wingreen. I don't remember how it sounds coming from Tamara Morrison. So, but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Senpai. And George Heilman, once again, man, thank you so much for the channel support this evening. I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. I cannot think of a truer to life villain line in Star Wars. Yeah, it's a Star Warsy way of saying my way or the highway, right, George? It's that's very true. It's Darth Vader, the villain, the strong man, the guy who can't really be bargained with. He's in control, and what he says goes. He's got this entire army behind him. He's in control. And, whatever deal they did set up, the deal shifted. And Vader maybe deep down knows that that's a little skeezy, but he doesn't care. He tells you, you better hope I don't change it up again, because it's going to be worse for you. It's also a threat, right? It's also a threat. So, yeah, you hit the head on the nail with that. I cannot think of a truer to life villain line in Star Wars. Yeah. Yep. You go in expecting something. You know, you pay your homeowner's insurance every day for years, and then a tree branch falls on your roof, and the insurance company says, "Oh, you're $500 less than the deductible. It's not going to work. Sorry. Pray I don't alter it any further." I mean, that's a horrible fucking example, but oh yeah. But yeah, I appreciate that, George. That's a good one for sure. Just kind of further showing you Vader's not only, I don't know, I guess his control, his control for sure. But yeah. But I appreciate that, man. And Caretaker Wanted, thank you so much for the channel support this evening as well. Vader's No in special edition. Revenge of the Sith. Oh, I mean, Return of the Jedi. Yeah. I know you're being facetious there. We don't speak of those things here. I'm joking. Yeah, man, like, what was beautiful about that scene? Here I go, Caretaker. Here I go. What was beautiful about that scene was the silence of it, right? Without saying a word. We felt it. We felt it. The scene was powerful in its just absence of dialogue other than Luke yelling on the ground. Vader's silent contemplation was incredibly powerful. And just to shoehorn a no in there, it's pretty dumb. It's pretty dumb. Liam Easton, come on, man. Trolling is a long game. You come in here and mess with people. You don't come in here and just spam letters. That's how you get yourself kicked out. Much to learn, youngling. Much to learn. But I appreciate that, Caretaker. Who is next? Wait. On my screen. Okay. Oh, no. I thought it was Vince. Okay. Oh, it was Senpai. Okay, here we go. All right, cool. Let's see. Senpai says, sorry, man, I was scrolling up, checking something. All right, Senpai says, a good one, a good new one is This Is the Way. Yeah, a little, I guess, Mandalorian motto, I suppose. It's a good one for the show. If I apply it to real life, whenever, how can I put this? If you said, but why is it like this? And somebody just said, this is the way. I know it's a good mantra for the Mandalorians and it's cool in the show. I get it. But if I ask somebody like, why are we doing it this way? Oh, this is the way. I'd be like, okay. It's a fun mantra. Don't get me wrong. But like applying it to real life, I'm a little more skeptical. I need a little more something. But I love the way it's kind of the mantra of the Mandalorians and how it's used to kind of unify this group, right? It definitely shows the brotherhood and the sisterhood of the Mandalorians and how they're all kind of on the same page through the the bloodshed, through all their struggles and their hardships, they've kind of unified into one cohesive thing, and they speak as one, and indicative of dogma. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, true, very true, Cole. What's up, man? Yeah, it fits the show very well. I'm very curious if we're going to see a lot of the Mandalorians again. I would assume so, or maybe I don't need to see them again. I kind of like the splash that they made in the first season. And if we never see them again in the show, I'd be completely fine with it, just because they had their time to shine and they helped out when they needed to help out, and they had their moment in the show. And yeah, but if I had to guess, we'll see them all come around again. But oh, dude, Josh, pizza sounds awesome. Oh, pizza sounds awesome. I got it a couple weeks ago. My wife went out of town. I got a large meat lovers from Pizza Hut. Yeah. Dude, when it comes to... Here, we're going to go on a sidetrack here. I appreciate the super chats, guys. Give me 1 second to talk about pizza. I know, I love a good, mellow mushroom pizza. I love a good Carmine's pizza. I love a good pizza from a place that is smaller than a chain, right? I love a good family... Gino's Pizza, right? Place down in Jacksonville. I love a good family-run pizza joint. But at the same time, damn, man. Something about that Pizza Hut, you got to pay $1 extra to get their, I guess, original crust or whatever, pan crust. Oh my goodness. Something about that crust, man. Something about those horrible, calorie-filled, nonsense-filled Pizza Hut crust that is just, ridiculous. Ridiculous. Not a big fan of Papa John's for whatever reason. I've never been a big fan of it. I like the pepper that what is that pepper called? I can't remember. I used to like Domino's a lot, but I don't know. If I get pizza from a chain or a place like that, I go with Pizza Hut every time. And their wings are good too, so, I mean, yeah. Anyway. You guys know me. All my metaphors are food. Anyway, Deadeye 4047, thank you so much, man. Deadeye 4047. Deadeye says, "Look at me, judge me by my size, do you? And well, you should not, for my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is." That's a good, that's a good one. That's a good, I don't know if you heard me say earlier, Deadeye, but I love quotes that you can apply to real life or that have some kind of resonance in real life. And that's a good one. Judge me by my size, do you? There's some, I mean, you can, that can apply to so many facets. I think most people, maybe me included, goes for like almost the combat, the fighting of that, and Yoda himself just kind of shoots that down instantly. It's about perceptions, right? It's about judging something, judging someone before you know them, or before you prejudging, right? That's what it's about. It's about looking at something on the surface level, not understanding its deeper meaning, or the person's deeper meaning, or what makes them tick. Not knowing them, not knowing what they do, what their abilities are, and having a snap judgment based off of basically what you see, right? And everybody's guilty of that, right? And Yoda says, hey, look at me. I did flips in the prequels. But no, Deadeye, that's a great one. Absolutely. It's about kind of prejudging things and people, right? Yoda has this entire vast knowledge of something that Luke doesn't even understand. So he's saying, look, man, you look at me, I'm this tiny little green dude. But I have this knowledge, this power that you don't even know anything about. So in my mind, you're the lesser, right? Coming from two different worlds. But yeah. I love it. Absolutely, Deadeye. But I appreciate that, man. And Vince Wynn, once again, thank you for the channel support this evening. A New Hope, 3PO to R2. You're fortunate he doesn't blast you into a million pieces right here, Luke. Nah, no, it's fine. Chill, dude. Yeah, yeah, well, when Luke and 3PO and R2 are all first acquainted, I love the sense of, like, I guess, like, ownership that 3PO feels in his programming, I suppose. But, you know, I see Sir Luke. No, just Luke. Oh, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And he feels like almost a servant, almost a butler. And Luke basically is, yeah, he's saying, nah, it's fine, dude. Chill out, dude. Like, come on. You know? I'm not that serious. I'm a cool boss, right? Luke is the cool boss. Hey man, you wanna go around the dumpster? I got a pack of Marlboros. But yeah, man, you know me, Vince. A New Hope. It's the movie that I remember more than any. But oh, I like this song. I think this was a recently added one. Oh no, yeah, probably within the last month or so. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. And C-Stick, thank you so much for the channel support. I greatly appreciate that, man. Amazing. Every word you just said was wrong. On two fronts, right? On two fronts in the movie. That quote is applied. Well, first of all, let me tell you how much I love the scene on Crate with Luke. I've said this a lot, but I think that will go down as one of the most powerful and memorable scenes in the entire saga, at least for me. I will never forget the feeling that I had when I first saw that in the theater, and just thinking, wow, how clever it was, and just how it completely caught me off guard, and how surprised I was. And you know, those are the moments that I look for when I see a movie. Not only Star Wars movie, they work in Star Wars, they amplify the appeal of it to me, and what I love about it, and makes the movie better for me, those surprises, those twists and turns. But that, man, that was on another level. It's one of my all-time favorites. So much so that I've been fishing around online for a print, like a fine art print of that scene. But whenever I find one that of that scene, I don't really like the look of it. But like, you know, in my new office, I'm gonna have, you know, NASA stuff and some Star Trek stuff and some Star Wars stuff, but it's not going to all be one thing. So I'm very, very selective with what I'm going to be putting on my walls now. Not like I used to be. I used to just throw shit up there like nothing. And one of the things that I want to get is a fine art print, or like a painting print of that scene. I just need to find one. And if I don't find one, I'll probably make one. But maybe I'll put it up for sale after that. But I could do that. That'd be fun. Have a little Etsy store, sell Star Wars prints. That'd be cool. But yeah, I love it, Stick. I love it. Yeah. I just talked about the entire scene without talking about the quote. A little Luke wisdom. He knows more than you think, right? When somebody's talking about a subject that you know a lot about, and you're sitting back listening to them talk about this thing that you know they obviously know nothing about, but they're trying to pretend like they do, and they have an opinion on something they know nothing about. Every word you just said was wrong. Well, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Grant Peters, thank you so much for the channel support this evening as well. Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. Fearing loss makes a person greedy, making them more likely to go rogue. Beautiful quote. Now, first of all, I appreciate that, Grant. You know, yeah, I think that's one I've talked about before in a video in the past. Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. Was that train yourself, or maybe it was something very similar? Of everything you fear to lose. Okay, this is okay. Yep, this is the one when Yoda is in front of the blinds, right? Yeah, those those blinds. Yeah, so for me, I completely understand the sentiment of the quote, and when Yoda talks about, you know, attachment leads to jealousy, the shadow of greed, that is, train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. There's also lines of dialogue about do not mourn those who pass on to the Force, or something like that. A lot of the stuff in that moment, in that scene, is kind of, I guess, a part of the Jedi creed, or the Jedi mindset that I kind of disagree with on just a base human level. You know, it's kind of like almost dogmatic Jedi belief there, right? But I you know, I understand maybe that almost feels like cutting yourself off from natural human emotions, right? Why would you want to train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose? Especially when it comes to other human beings, right? Like I said, I completely understand it, and I like it when I think of Star Wars, and it fits in the universe and the world, and it kind of, to me, it almost highlights a little bit of the downfall of the Jedi in a way. Fear is a motivator. Fear can be a motivator. And maybe the Jedi needed a little bit more fear to not lose a little bit of their grip, right? But yeah, I like it in the context. I like it for sure, Grant. My problem, Grant, is that I always try to apply a Star Wars quote to real life, and it often doesn't work, you know, at least from my mentality. But in the context of Star Wars, in the moment, in that scene, it works, and I get it. I get it. I love that line because it shows how corrupt Jedi are. Well, that's what a lot of the stuff like that is kind of, almost to me, a little foreshadowing of some of the Jedi mindset that leads to the downfall, you know. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Grant. And Vince Wynn, thank you so much once again for the channel support this evening. Grab some Giordano's deep dish next time in Orlando. Are you a deep dish guy? I'm really not a deep dish guy. I'm looking this up right now. I used to live in Orlando. I don't know if you know that. Let's see. Lake Buena Vista. I used to live in Winter Park. I don't know how familiar you are. So, okay, this place is southwest. I lived northeast, so complete opposite side of the city. So I definitely never went here. In fact, I've probably never been to this little area other than like Universal Studios and whatnot. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. When I lived in Orlando, man, I had a lot of fun in Orlando. And there was a Philly cheesesteak place that, dude, oh my god, it was so good. It was in walking distance of my shithole apartment. Oh my god, I used to go and just eat cheesesteaks like oh my god, it was so good. I'm not usually deep dish, but this shit is insanely good. I trust me, I like all pizza. But lately, I would say in the past 5 years or so, I've actually kind of gravitated towards like thin crust. I don't know what made me switch. I think it's like deep dish is so damn filling, and it's like eating lasagna. It's like eating a bowl of pizza stuff, you know. But yeah, if I'm ever down there, I'll swing in. I'll tweet out a little picture. I think you said you deleted Twitter, right? Smart man. Smart man. But yeah. Anyway. I appreciate that, Vince. And Senpai Gar. Once again, thank you so much for the channel support. Pass on what you have learned. The greatest teacher failure is. We are what they grow behind. That is the true burden of all masters. Yoda. The Last Jedi. Yeah, I mean, in terms of those Star Wars lessons, you know, that so much, at least for me, so much of the original trilogy gave me a lot of Star Wars lessons, as it did a lot of other people. And in terms of Star Wars lessons and modern Star Wars, you know, that is probably the most pivotal scene for me in modern Star Wars context. You know, you got your Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker, I barely remember any powerful lines or anything like that that are even remotely close to that, you know, in terms of inspiration. And then you have your Mandalorian, which is kind of, it doesn't have, in my opinion, any of that really, but it's just a fun, simple ride, right? But that Yoda scene in The Last Jedi is just classic Empire Strikes Back Yoda. That's the Yoda that I like. That is the Force that I like. To me, the Force is about that. It's about wisdom. It's about being measured. It's about contemplation. It's about introspection. It's not about shooting lightning, you know. That's what I think of when I think of the Force. And that wisdom, you know, from Yoda. So, Senpai. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's definitely one of the most wisdom-heavy and inspirational scenes and lines of dialogue in the entire modern Star Wars. Not only modern Star Wars, but in the entire saga for sure. But I appreciate that, man. Oh, and Senpai coming in with another one. Thanks, man. Apology accepted, Captain Nita. Dead. Oh, wait. Am I thinking of a different scene? Captain Nita. Yeah, he was choked to death, right? It was yeah. Okay, he did. Okay, yeah. Dead. Apologies accepted, Captain Nita. That's a good one. Little like sarcastic Vader there. It fits. It's something like that. It's like what did he say in Rogue One? Choke on your aspirations. Choke on your aspirations. Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, director. A lot of people and you guys know this, Rogue One is one of my least favorite Star Wars movies. But I saw a lot of people saying that sounded stupid, that line of dialogue in Rogue One, and I loved it. I thought that was, it fit with something like that, right? Senpai, apology accepted, Captain Nita. Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, director. It fit. It fit with that kind of like, that sarcastic tone that we have seen from Vader before, you know. But yeah. I dig it, Senpai, and I appreciate that, man. And Vince Wynn, thank you so much once again. Sorry, folks. I'm sure I'll do better next time, and I'm still getting used to my programming. Anybody recognize? I'm sure I'll do better next time, and I'm still getting used to my programming. Do I recognize that? I'm sorry, folks. I'm sure I'll do better next time, and I'm still getting used to my programming. Is that from Star Wars? Is that from the ride at Disney World? When 3PO is your pilot? I'm gonna look this up. I can't wait any longer. Let's see. I'll do better next time, and I'm still getting used to my programming. What's that from, Vince? Nothing's pulling up. Okay, here we go. It really is? Holy shit! I just found it. I'm sure I'll do better next time. Oh, and it's not 3PO. Oh, wow. I pulled that out of my ass, Vince. That's hilarious. Okay, Vince, do you recognize this? One of my favorite things from Disney World that doesn't exist anymore. It was What ride is this? Well, it's going to give it away. In the future, packages will be sent through beams of light. In the future, packages will be sent through beams of light. In the future, packages will be sent through beams of light. It doesn't exist anymore, that advertisement. So, I'll just say, it was from Space Mountain. And for a very long time, there was basically a FedEx, for those of you who aren't, well, I guess, is FedEx, do they have a presence outside of the United States? It's basically a postal service, right? It's a private postal service. And they had like an advertisement when you got off of Space Mountain, this ride. And as you're kind of like on the people mover, exiting the ride after you get off, there was a FedEx display. And it just kind of like a weird looking sci-fi futuristic thing. And it you know, it had a light beam, and it just kept saying, in the future, packages will be sent through beams of light. And for whatever reason, man, that has just stuck with me for my entire life. Just because, I don't know, as a kid, it probably just made my mind wander, you know. But yeah, in the future, I'm going to Google that. In the future, packages will be sent through beams of light. Space Mountain. Okay, yep, people are talking about it, but there's no video of it. This was, okay, so. Okay. I just fitted it, and at the end of the Space Mountain, there's a line, in the future packages will be sent to distant worlds through beams of light. So this is 2003, so it still existed. I don't know when they got rid of it. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. All right. You guys know me. I always get diverted. But it's fun. I appreciate that, Vince. I pulled that out of my ass, man. Wow. I miss Tomorrowland's Transit Authority better than People Mover. Now approaching Space Mountain. Yeah, we're going to go there soon because my daughter, I think, gets in for free until she's 3. We're going to take advantage of that. But last time I went to Disney World was like maybe 3 or 4 months before my daughter was born. Me and my wife just decided to take a little trip down there and go to Disney World, you know, before my daughter was born, just have a little getaway. That was the last time we went there. We live so close, you know, we used to go all the time as a family, but yeah. And George Heilman, thank you so much once again for the channel support this evening, man. You're lucky you don't taste very good. Little Dagobah? Little Dagobah. I still have Giordano's pulled up. You're lucky you don't taste very good. Yeah, a little creature spitting out R2. Oh, somebody actually has a tattoo of this? Somebody has a tattoo of "You're lucky you don't taste very good." It's not, doesn't have the text on there, but it's R2 on Dagobah. That's funny. On their foot. Interesting. Yeah, fun lines of dialogue, right? Star Wars has heart. Star Wars has fun banter. Star Wars has little silly moments and lines of dialogue like that. Star Wars has romance. It's good. It's good. I can hear that entire scene playing out in my head, George. The R2 screech, the creature vomiting up. I can hear the entire scene in my head. It's funny how certain scenes like that just kind of never leave your brain, you know. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Chris Tierce, thank you so much for the channel support, man. My stick is better than bacon. Chris, I did not know what that was until about a week ago or so. If you would have sent that super chat a week ago, I would have had no idea what you were talking about. Luckily, somebody mentioned it that I should watch it. That video. Those guys do such a hell of a job. It's always fantastic. And they're really catchy tunes too, right? And I actually put it on the TV, and me and my daughter were watching it, and she actually was like, just, certain things. She loves music, so if something is musical on TV, she will latch onto it and immediately pay attention. So something like that was just right up her alley. I was like, who's that? Yoda? Yeah, Yoda. I'm proud of you, little girl. Yoda? Mm-hmm. Who's that? Yoda. What's he doing? Singing. Love it. But I appreciate that, Chris. If anybody doesn't know what he's talking about, just, I guess, yeah, Google "My Stick is Better Than Bacon" and the song will come up. But everybody already knows what you're talking about because I'm the one that's always out of the loop, right? Telling you guys about this thing. You guys are like, I've known about this for like a month, you idiot. Anyway, I appreciate that, Chris. And Senpai Gar, thank you so much for the channel support as well, man. Well, my dad talks to my brother and I about our stock car racing. That sounds fun. He says that our cars need more power, to which I respond, unlimited power. Nice. Yeah, it kind of, Senpai, like I said earlier, there's certain lines of dialogue and stuff like that just kind of, it's almost like a compulsion, right? Where you need to say it. You need to say it. It just fits. It fits. It just fits perfectly. My example is almost there, right? I say it in the tone, almost there. I don't know why. It's the same. It just always fits in certain situations. I like that. Stock car racing. I actually have some family that does stock car racing. Like, you actually do that. That's really cool, man. I have family members who are like gearheads, and they participate in these like local races and stuff like that. That's really cool. That'd be fun to get into for sure. Unlimited power. But I appreciate that, Senpai. And Vince, when taken off, hey. I can't do the impression. Babu Frick. Good night, everybody. Good night, man. Thank you so much for dropping in. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the pizza recommendation. Deep dish is basically it's basically like a meat pie, right? You might as well be eating it with a fork or a spoon. I don't really mind deep dish, but yeah, like I said, man, for the past 5 years or so, there was a time where I was like super into deep dish because more food. But now, like over the past 5 years or so, I kind of like the thin crust. I don't know why. I like the crunchiness of it. But yeah, you can't go wrong. You said Domino's tonight? Enjoy it, man. Oh, it seems Shane began making my pizza at 7:38. It's weird how you can track that stuff, isn't it? I don't know. It's weird to me. Like, when I've ordered pizza in the past year or so, you see the progress of your pizza and you're just staring at your phone like, cool, Dylan just made my pizza. Dylan just put it in the oven. Dylan just took the pizza out of the oven. Okay. Now Chris is driving in his Toyota Corolla to my house. Oh, he's on Berkshire Lane. He's almost there. He's almost there. See? That quote applies to everything. It applies to everything. But enjoy it, man. Enjoy the pizza. Sounds delicious. But, all right. With that being said, with a little pizza talk at the end, that was a little over an hour. Nice. I told my wife, I was like, yeah, I'll probably stream for like an hour, and then we can watch something. It's good. Perfect. We're going to watch Mindhunter. If you guys haven't seen Mindhunter, it's a really good show. I for whatever reason, I'm never in the mood to watch a show like that. I'm always in the mood to watch something optimistic and fun, right? Or thought-provoking, like Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm never not in the mood to watch an episode. I know you guys are sick of hearing me talk about this for the past blah years. I'm always in the mood to watch something like that. Or toss on an episode of Cosmos. Let's watch something fun. and interesting. I'm like never in the mood to watch some kind of like serial killer movie or show or documentary. I don't need to see that shit. But they do a good job with this show. It's fun. The characters are fun. And it's really well done. I think we have like maybe two or three episodes until the first season's done. But yeah, I recommend it if you guys are looking for something on Netflix just to watch. If you're endlessly scrolling on Netflix and you can't decide what to watch, go for it. But yeah, all right, guys. I like that username. There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. It is 8:46. I'm going to pop some popcorn and watch some serial killer show. So, everybody that tuned in, thanks, guys. Everybody that sent in some quotes, some really good stuff out there. It's what I love about it is, you know, the quotes that impact you are so different than the quotes that impact others or me. Everybody, you know, it's like Star Wars, right? Everybody's Star Wars is different, and the quotes that everybody loves are vastly different, often from everybody else, you know. But and then you have shit like that is, for whatever reason, these random ass quotes from the prequels turn into memes, and they just get repeated over and over again. Who would have predicted that, right? Who would have predicted in 1999 that 20 years later there'd be a bunch of people saying the same exact things over and over again from a movie? It's interesting. It's interesting. Oh, Earth, the big old zoo. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Everybody who sent their super chats in support of the channel this evening, I appreciate the hell out of it. Hoping to get a video out tomorrow. It's basically done. I just have to film one more stupid scene of me laying in bed and saying a line of dialogue. That's all that's waiting on this dumb video. Also, I'm going to be watching. I didn't get to work on anything today just because I had like 6 hours of working on freelance stuff today. My parents actually watched my daughter. Babysat her all day, so I had to work on a bunch of freelance projects, and so I got those done, and now I can kind of buckle down and get to work on some video stuff. But all right, everybody, enough rambling. Have a good evening, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, wherever the hell you are on planet Earth, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Let's end with a fast-paced fun song tonight. Cool? Actually, let's end with a little Cassini from our buddy Stud. Cool. This was a song that a guy actually emailed me and said he makes music, and he wanted to know if I wanted to use his music. And I was like, hell yeah, this sounds great. So enjoy it, and I'll catch you all on the flip side. See ya. It starts out a little slow. I'll let it play, but enjoy. Have a good night, guys.